There's nothing like cracking that cellophane and pulling that record out. It just smells great.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
Unlike any other.
With your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bod Father.
Man, this stuff rocks.
The views and opinions of the guests do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Hour, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
This is Bradley from the Corrupted Hearts, and you are watching BODS Mayhem Hour.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I am your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bod Father. And as always, I'm bringing you guys and gals awesome interviews. Today, it's an honor and a huge privilege to welcome Bradley Schultz of the Corrupted Hearts. And the Corrupted Hearts are an alternative rock band out of Columbus, Ohio. And they were formerly known as Inverso and will release their second full-length album by the end of this year, which will be entitled Long Winter Blues. The Corrupted Hearts have also released their current single, We Dug a Ditch and LaidDown. That's out now. And also 100% of digital album sales go to the Plastic Pollution Coalition.org Foundation. So Bradley, welcome to the podcast. How you doing, my friend?
Great. Thanks so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. So how excited are you to have this sophomore album getting ready to be released? And also, did this album turn out exactly the way you wanted it to? Did it meet your expectations?
It definitely exceeded my expectations. Yeah. The first album was a long time coming. I had started it in 2011 and then kind of abandoned it and spent a decade on my career and my kids and just kind of, put music on the sidelines. And then last year, I sold my company and retired at the age of 40. So I all of a sudden had all this free time and I was like, man, I just really want to get back into playing the way I was. And also my kids are teenagers now and they don't need me as much. So so I, picked up kind of where I left off in 2011. And but I after a decade of experience, I just felt like a different artist. I felt like a different person, so I really wanted to rebrand as something else. And I found some really amazing players that live really close to me. We all live with about within like 10 minutes of each other, oddly enough. And so we did the first album, released it last October. And I just, I had some inspiration from, 2011 and it had some new songs on it. But, this whole last year has just been this journey of writing. And I have a whole decade of new experiences and new life experience to write about. So it came very fast and very easily. And we didn't plan on releasing another album 1 year after our first album. But here we are, and we have so much more material that I didn't feel like it was in any way a threat of us running out of stuff. Like I've got like 25 more, so I'm like, there's so much material. And we're very, very excited because everything just seems like it's evolved in a cool way that we didn't expect. So yeah, very, very happy, very excited about this album. And also very excited about the future and what we're going to do next year. So
would you say, Bradley, this is a rebirth of your music?
Absolutely. And honestly, I just had this thought the other day. I'm like, man, I think I'm the best version of myself. Like as an artist, this is the best I've been or ever been. I'm peaking right now, This is it. Like, I felt like, when I was younger and I was doing this, I just, I don't know. I was in a different place in my life. So like, I wasn't writing about things that really mean a lot to me. I was just trying to sound cool, and now it's like, man, I have all these insane life experiences to talk about. And I feel like I finally have something real to say, so it means more to me, everything means more.
So with the band name change, is this also going with that rebirth for you and said, I want to change up. I don't want to name this no more. Let's go with a different name now.
Yeah. When I was in Verso, it was, I don't know what that was, but but the Corrupted Hearts actually means a lot because I actually wrote a little poem one day, and then I came up with the name out of that poem, and it kind of it just came out. I was like, oh, that's definitely it. But you know, a lot of people they hear, they're like, the Corrupted Hearts, what does that mean? Are you guys like an emo band or something? What is that? But I just want to read this poem real quick. It's real short, but it just kind of explains exactly why we are who we are. So it goes, there's something inherently wrong deep down in the hearts of men that makes them always want more. Nothing is ever enough. Perhaps the seemingly unnatural trait is why we evolved as a species in the first place, but it is time to evolve again. We must learn to be content in our hearts and overcome our lust for greed and power. We must become a species built on compassion and community. We recognize the struggle within ourselves, and that is why we are the Corrupted Hearts. So, at the core of it, it's just realizing that, we're not perfect. We have some things to deal with as a species. The things that drive the economy and drive our world is usually greed based, and we have to become something else, or we're not going to survive. And so calling ourselves the Corrupted Hearts is like that. It's that realization that yes, we live with this. This is our burden, and we're trying to be better than this.
How difficult was it for you though, retiring at 40 years old? Now you got new life into your music, but how difficult was it to walk away and not knowing that you're going to come back to this?
I gave up everything, like all of us as musicians, we all we all have this dream that we're going to do this for a living, like when we're younger. And I don't know if it's just, I don't know why everybody thinks they have to do this for a living. It's like, why can't you just do this for the love of it? And why does it have to be a job? But, I was a master plumber. And I was good at that. And it was a job where my creative energy was, realized, and I had a lot of success with that. I'm really proud of that. Jeff, our bass player, is a seismologist, and, he's a professional, Adam is he works for Chase Bank, and he has a career, and like we all have like professional jobs and like careers and stuff like that. And like, so there's ways to make money, and there's ways to live your life like that and be happy. And you can be more than just a musician, but like, being a musician does not have to be a career, like where you're like just doing it for money and it has to be this commercial product that you're making. It's a miracle when it happens, but it's 1 in a million, and like, we would do this no matter what. We would do this for no money. We would do this for, for no other reason, but for ourselves. All of us agree with that. And then it really becomes an uncompromised thing, because there's no one to say, hey, this has to be this way, or you have to make this a little more commercially acceptable. Like, that is out the window. And now we're just focused on art and what makes us happy. And I think that's a great place to be. Because that's really when good things happen, in my opinion.
I love hearing these stories about people walking away 10, 15, 20 years, and then they come back and it's like, what the hell happened? It's like everything starts to roll, man, and you've got all those juices flowing, and you look compared to what you did previously to now, it's like, what the hell was I thinking? It's like you mature as a musician. It's like your favorite love or whatever that you missed.
Yeah.
Back.
Well, it's like you think about like Kurt Cobain and being so young and writing all those really meaningful songs, and I'm like, I was not Kurt Cobain at Kurt Cobain's age. Like I was an idiot. I didn't have anything to say. So I feel like being older is actually better in this scenario, because now I have like a message, and I have life experiences to share that actually matter, and like they mean something. So the whole gatekeeping people, for being older, like, oh, you can't write songs because you're not 20 years old. It's like, dude,
yeah.
That attitude is just got to go away. Like if you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, it does not matter. You can do whatever you want, whenever you want. That is the message,
Yep. That's exactly right, man. I've always said this. If you want to pursue something, go for it. Don't sit there and dwell and say, well, 2 weeks later, I wish I would have tried it. Just get off your ass and do it.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do. So plain and simple. What led the song We Dug a Ditch and Laid Down to be the first song released off this album? I mean, I know there could have been others that probably could have went out possibly, but why this one?
Yeah. The label Pavement picked this one, but we're really proud of the song. We love it. And it has a weird story. I was a plumber, like I said, and I had dug a lot of ditches in my life. And there was one day I was working, and I dug out like a 14-foot deep ditch, and I I always thought, oh, how weird would it be to like lay down in it and like look up at the sky. So I did. I got down there and I just laid there, and it's like so creepy, eerily quiet down underground. There's no sound except for your heartbeat and like your breath. You can feel you can just, you can hear your breath, but it's really serene. It's a weird feeling. And you're just looking up at like a sky and the clouds are barely moving. And it just makes you think, man, I'm so small. I came from the earth and I'm a part of this earth, and this is all, I'm just dirt, and it's a great feeling. It made me feel like, oh, wow, the constant worry of politics and things in our lives that just, make us, stress and cringe all day. It's like, it really doesn't mean anything. It's such a temporary thing. So, I don't know. That experience is what it came from. And the song is really just about turning off or turning down the noise in your life, and just kind of connecting with the ground, So, yeah.
We Dug a Ditch and Laid Down was recorded by Cory Bergeron. How was work with him? And is this the first time work with him or no?
So that was the first time we sent off. So we sent the song off to 5 different engineers because we really wanted to work with someone who, like, we do all the tracking here at my place. But I can't mix and master my own stuff. It just can't hear it the same way. And I learned, from my, experiences with my job and stuff, is like everything you do with other people is always better. When you work as a team and you have like, a group of people working on something creative, that's when really great things happen. Things are only so good on your own. And when you can learn to be interdependent with people, like, great things happen. So like, we really wanted to find a killer engineer that understood the art and understood what we were doing. And Cory was the obvious choice. Out of all the ones that we had sent out to, he immediately just understood what we were trying to do. He took an extra 2 hours with us to go through the session, what he didn't have to do. And just, he's one of the most, kind, professional people, tons of experience, and really understood the art. So like, he was our guy. So we actually hired him to do the entire album, and he might be our guy for a while, so couldn't be more impressed with the quality, and what he came up with. And I love it when someone else, touches what you're doing. And like, I used to be that lone wolf type of person. It's like, oh, don't touch my stuff. You got to if you're like that, you got to get out of that mindset. That's the thing, is like, when you realize that, other people, you just let them do their job, like, amazing things happen. And, he thought of stuff that I never would have thought of. And the same thing is true with our band, like, we'll share ideas in the same way. An idea will come to me and I, do this part, and then I talk to Tom, our drummer, and he comes up with his part, and Jeff does his thing. And it's just a really great collaboration, of just professional people that, really respect each other and their time. And we're able to get a lot accomplished quickly because of that. So we operate like a little, machine for songs, and it's definitely creatively driven, but it feels very efficient, for more efficient than, probably normal bands do. So
I'm really glad that you mentioned that, because I am now doing paranormal editing with our videos that we're doing. We got a YouTube channel and everything, and going from doing a podcast editing to full show editing, it's a total different ball game in a way. And I've got other people that's helped me that does these investigations with us, and it's hard for me to let go because I'm so used to doing it all. Yeah. But like you said, when you got other people that's helping you, man, lay it to it. Go for it, because that's the best product that you can get, I think. And I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I was able to retire at 40 with and sell a company and build a companies, because I learned how to get out of my own way and let people do their job, and how to work with people instead of by myself. Tough lesson to learn, but Inverso was very much a lone wolf. In fact, the old album cover I have is me sitting on a planet by myself. And I did this subconsciously, and then realized it later. I was like, wow, that could not have been more of a metaphor of what this was, is me not being able to work with anyone. And I don't want to be that person. And I definitely didn't want to be that artist. This is about collaboration and team. And it's amazing what happens even just on tape when there's more than one voice, when there's more than one person. Amazing things happen. So
how's the fans' feedback been on the release of the new single, We Dug a Ditch and Laid Down? What have you been seeing, man? It's kind of fueled your fire some more.
I was kind of shocked that it went to 20,000 streams like right away. So I was like, whoa, like I didn't expect that. And honestly, I don't know. I didn't really expect much out of this at all. Like I was honestly doing this for me, and our band is doing this for us. We never really thought like, oh, well, we need this huge following or something to feel validated. Like, just don't feel that way. We're just trying to make the best things we can, and we're putting them out in the world. And so far it's been good. I can't wait for people to hear what we're working on though, because I think what we're working on right now is extra good. So I'm like really excited about that.
All right, Bradley, other than the new members, did the band add anything differently on this album musically than what fans are accustomed to hearing from the Corrupted Hearts?
Yeah, so our last album was much more basic. It was this album has way more synth on it. I've been playing guitar at shows. We've been adding more like synth elements and inspirations from hip hop and other places. So yeah, it's definitely different. And I'm not one of those artists that writes the same song slightly different over and over again. Like, we have a lot of musical tastes and a lot of different backgrounds. I have a jazz background. Adam is all blues. Tom's more lo-fi and likes natural things. And Jeff is old school Alice in Chains Tool kind of guy. So like, we all have very different musical interests and tastes. But when it comes together and it becomes a Corrupted Heart song, it has all these flavors in it. So it has 90s style inspirational, kind of stuff like the STP, Alice in Chains, like it's in there. You can hear it. But there's elements of like, Kendrick Lamar and Weeknd and Billie Eilish and all these people we listen to now that we're also interested in their music as well. So inspirations from all kinds of decades. So.
And I saw you playing the guitar, and I was like, heck yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah, we need to find somebody to do that full time, because it's a lot of work. And whenever I can just focus on one thing, I'm better off. So like, I'd rather just sing. We just played a show this weekend, and I had to play guitar because Adam couldn't be there. And it's just too hard I just can't. I am a one-track minded person, and doing two things at once is like scary, So I'd love to find a keyboard player. Anybody out there wants to play guitar? Could be cool. Just saying.
Come on down.
Yeah.
Do you feel the new album had to come out strong for the band after the name change and plus the new members?
I didn't know what to expect, man. Like, and our first album was The Corrupted Hearts. Like, that album we came out in 2022. And we had a different drummer then. We had Isaiah, but he moved. So we went through like 10 auditions to find Tom. Tom brings a completely different level of energy. Tom Chakra is a outgoing character. He's like a character from a movie. Like, and all of us are kind of introverted, a little more laid back. So it adds a different dynamic for sure. But no, like, I think everybody's on board. Everybody really loves the name and the purpose. And we all, we've talked about, our dedication to, the Plastic Pollution Coalition. I think having a cause to back is really important nowadays, and we really want to get behind the cause of like trying to educate and eliminate single-use plastics. And I know it's a tall order. I know it's a big deal, but it's just not enough attention being drawn to it. There's so many products and things that we don't need to use that could be done in a more responsible way. And there's just nothing to protect consumers. The consumers take the blame for these things. It always irritated me that people are like, oh, well, you need to recycle. Like, well, a lot of the stuff that we have isn't recyclable, right? Why are all these companies allowed to make these products in the first place with zero regulations? So the Plastic Pollution Coalition is super cool. They actually have it linked up to every state. You can directly email your senator and congress people about this anytime you want, right through their website for free. So it's a super good cause, and it's backed by some super famous people. And I think it's starting to get some traction, but we've got to get it out there in this country that, our oceans are full of plastic, microplastics, they're in us, and it doesn't have to be that way. This is something that's easily fixable just by adding some regulation and and stop blaming the consumer and start putting regulations in place in the government to stop the production of it in the first place. So
what does each of you bring to this band that makes the chemistry just work?
That's a good question. I think it helps that we're all, similar in age. We're all almost the same age. We're all in similar places in our lives. I think it'd be hard for me, being my age with a wife and kids, to hang out with a 20-year-old, and no offense to 20-year-olds, but like, it's just, it helps that we're all in the same boat. We all have kids, we all have wives, we all have professional lives. So we're all on the same page in our lives. First of all, we may differ a little politically and religiously and things like that, but that I feel like is not a deterrent. I like that everybody has different, opinions on things like that, because, I have no problem being around or hanging out with people that don't completely agree with me all times. Right. So that's been good. At the end of the day, it's the writing, that holds everything together. If everybody just keeps coming up with all these brilliant ideas and we're able to, work together that way, it's never going to stop, so that's the glue, I think. But it doesn't hurt, that we're all in the same spot in our lives, and, we all have similar goals, and we're all organized, we have calendar invites for practices, and like no one's late, if someone is late, they communicate that, like it's like extremely organized. So that's nice.
Was there a track for the album that totally ended up sounding different than what it was intended to? Was there one that kept changing, or no?
I think We Dug a Ditch is pretty different from the original. It's Cory added some elements to it that made it a little different.
All right, Bradley, I know these are your babies. I understand that completely. But are there any songs standing out more to you than any right now on this album?
I love all these songs. Like I really, really love all of them. But like there's a song called Be Kind Rewind that we wrote, and I'm just really attached to it. It's kind of just about walloping in the past of nostalgia and not being able to move forward. Sometimes you just get stuck in the past all the time. We can all relate to that in being in our 40s. So, but that, I love the sound of that song, and I love the synths on that, and I'm extra proud of it because I feel like it's a step forward for us, like sonically. So I'm very excited to see what people think of that. There's a song called No Vacancy on the record that's a little slower, but it has a really, really cool hook on it. And the lyrics are pretty deep, and it's digging deep into my past, and it hits every time I listen to it. There's one other song called The Shallow End that I can almost not get through without getting choked up on it. And it's about my daughter and just having a hard time connecting. But I don't know, man, like songwriting just becomes like a therapy session, and it's always ugly. It's never a pretty one. It's if you want to be really, really honest with yourself and sit down and write, it can be hard to get through. And it's the one thing I really don't look forward to about the songwriting process, because I know that it's going to suck for a second. But you got to get through it. And that's where the real honesty comes out and the real art comes out, is dealing with things and facing those things. And I face those through the lyric writing specifically.
When you mentioned 40 in our 40s, I just cringed a little bit because I just turned 45 and I'm like, oh my God. Oh, I'm going through a midlife crisis.
Yeah, I mean, that's okay. It's been I just started this decade, but I like this decade already. The 30s were definitely fun. Love the 30s, but I'm excited about the 40s for sure.
All I can say is go to step class, because it's you'll feel it every day. At least I do.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, my man. Is there any songs that did not make this album we can see on another album, EP, or maybe a standalone single down the road to say, hey, we're still here, we're still relevant?
Oh yeah, there's so many. We got a lot. We had to cut a lot, honestly. But I think at the end of, you kind of need to make sure everything on an album like fits. It kind of has to tell a story, and I felt like we told that story in 10 songs. And, there was, another 10 that got cut, and because they just weren't part of that story, and that's okay. they could still be singles later. And some of them, you know, it's like, okay, well, it's a good song. I like the song, but it's not, you know, it's probably not releasable, or it just doesn't really have, you know, the right elements in it. So, but you know, I've done that before. Like, there's a song on the new album called Black and Blue that I actually wrote back in 2011. And at the time I was like, that's stupid. You know, I like wrote it and like put it, like kind of mapped it out in Ableton, and then just kind of like was like, never mind. Like, I just can't hear it. And then, you know, now, and I listen back and I was like, what was I doing? That was great. That was really good. Like,
yeah,
you know, and that's actually our most popular song right now when we play it live. Like, we've gotten the biggest response from that song because it's poppier, and people like it a lot. But it's and it's one of those like 4 on the floor type beats. So like everybody, you know, it's danceable. So, but yeah, I you know, that song could have been lost forever, and now it's on the new album. So I just hear it differently at a different time. You know, sometimes it's a timing thing. So.
See, man, some of those songs back in the day you've had for 15, 20 plus years are now diamonds in the rough.
Yeah. It's funny. Like, the guys were mad because I cut 2 of the songs that were from, like the Inverso days. And they're like, those are the songs, dude. And I'm like, I'm not ready for those yet. Like, I need to hear maybe next year we'll put those out as singles, but they weren't a part of this story. So
I'm glad you mentioned that, man, about your album and your albums. And plus, you know, especially like I got the feeling the track placement is very important to you because it has to tell that story. I'm glad you mentioned that because there's so many that just, I feel like they just throw them on there. They throw the songs on there in any order, I feel like.
Yeah. That, or they just feel like they have to release everything they touch. And I don't feel like that way at all. Like, but I mean, if you don't have that much information, you don't have that much material, I could see that, but that's not an issue for us. We have too much stuff. So we're just kind of like, okay, what's the best foot? Let's put our best foot forward. You know, next year we're hoping to just kind of release singles and covers and fun stuff, after doing 2 albums in a row, but you never know, man. You never know what a year is going to bring, and there might be a new story. And yeah, but I still like albums. We're all old. We like albums, you know.
Yeah.
I still want to listen to a whole album from start to finish and hear the whole thing. So, you know,
I still like buying albums just specifically and solely on the album artwork because you don't know what you're going to get. I love buying albums like that, and I still do that from time to time.
Album artwork is something too that's been evolving for us. Adam, our guitar player, has got really into AI, and he's been coming up with all these AI designs. And I've been watching the progress of this for a year now, and the stuff is getting insane. Just more creative and more creative. And it's interesting. So, you know, you think of like AI as like a cheat tool where you just put in something and you get something, but this is different. I've seen Adam go from really basic stuff to super advanced stuff over a year's time of like working with AI. So it's like, oh, well, this actually is kind of artistic because you're really, really putting in the hours to get this right, you know, and watching it get better all the time. I'm like, man, this is getting cool. So yeah, super excited about the art direction. And the only thing we cannot agree on t-shirt designs. We have like 50 t-shirt designs and we all like different ones and no one can agree. It's not even close. So like if we were dressing together, it wouldn't happen. So we may just have to release a lot of t-shirts because like seriously, the stuff I like, everybody else hates. The stuff that I like the stuff Adam does, but you know, Tom doesn't like it. Tom's ideas are cool. I don't know. We can't agree. So we can write all day. We can write music all day, but not t-shirts whatsoever.
All right, man. We're going to throw the corrupted hearts out the window for the next 2 questions here because I want to know just specifically about Bradley here.
Okay.
So if you could write an album equivalent to your favorite band's album, which album would that be?
I love these questions. And I could probably just keep going on these. I immediately thought of White Pony. Like, so you know how like when bands come out with like their first album and that gets like commercial success, everybody's like, okay, this is great. And then their sophomore album's pretty cool. And then the third album is like this masterpiece. Right. And I felt like that with the Deftones, like they had Adrenaline, then they had Around the Fur. Around the Fur was so great. I loved every song. And then White Pony came out and it was just like, dun, dun, like the most amazing thing. So, but then after that, it was kind of like, they had some hits here and there, but no like albums that were like epic albums that were like every track is brilliant, kind of like White Pony was. So I was like, man, like this is our second album. I wonder if by the time we get to our third album, it'll be like our coming together. And then should we go away after that? You know, like, like, you know, like I always feel like the bands get into the fourth or fifth album and it's like, what is this? Like it's over, man. Like you know, you like you had like your genius moment, and now you need to play greatest hits, right? Like, I feel like that with Tool. Like Tool, like came out with several albums and like just had all the success, and then they just started like Perfect Circle instead, and then they had a ton of success with that, and then they were like, well, it's time to quit that too, and now we have Pussifer, and it's great. So it's like maybe they understood that formula. Like, there's only so far you got to go, and have your genius moment or your perfect album, and then you need to move on. You know?
Yeah.
So,
The Three Libras by Perfect Circle, that album, leave it be, guys. Just no more. Just that's all you need.
Yeah, you did it. It's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that with Radiohead, like they had OK Computer, and then they had Kid A and all that stuff. It's incredible. But then it's like, where do you go from here? It's like maybe just singles. Like, what could you possibly do at this point after you release that stuff? You know, like,
yeah, that
what
totally
else is there to say? You
Yeah.
know?
And,
So,
and I
yeah,
know,
do some singles, but man, I don't know.
I know people are gonna like trash me when I say this, but I grew up like from the 70s and 80s and 90s listening to the great stuff. And when Silverchair came out, they had Frog Stomp. I was like, oh my God, what is this? Every song on it was a fucking masterpiece. In my opinion, I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Then they come out with Freak Show. I thought Freak Show was great. And then like
this is the perfect example. What you're saying right now is the perfect example of what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
it really is.
And it's like, here's Silverchair that we dig. We know what Silverchair is, and then all of a sudden here's Silverchair. Like, what happened?
Yeah. So
where'd you guys go?
Freak Show is my favorite album of all time of any artist. Like, and it's I mean, I've got the CD upstairs. Like that CD meant so much to me as a kid. I thought it was so great, and you know, and then Neon Ballroom came out, and that, you know, they had the anthem for the year 2000 and Anna's song and all that, and I was like in high school, and I was a, you know, class of 2000, so anthem for the year 2000 was a big deal to me. And then I saw him at the Newport in Columbus. I saw Silverchair when I was like 17 years old.
Oh.
And I was crowd surfing in the front, you know, so like that stuff meant so much to me. But you're right. Like, and then it's like, okay, well, anthem for the year 2000 was pretty much like perfect. And then it's like, where do you go from here? Like the next couple albums were kind of like, a couple good songs, but no, there wasn't a masterpiece of an album anymore, you know? So it's like, everything has its expiration date too. And maybe that's okay. You know, just,
it is,
say what you need to say. And then, you know, that's it. Like, I don't know.
See, like for you, the Anthem 2000 album, to me, that was, is okay. There was a few songs on there I dug, and a song, especially year 2000, but I couldn't get into anything else because I was so just used to Frog Stomp, Freak Show of what I'm used to hearing from those guys. And I guess at that time, I just turned a dumb ear pretty much. I just, you know, was like, that ain't
or like Stone Temple Pilots, for example, another one. You know, they had Core. Everybody loved Core. Everybody loved Purple. Tiny Music to me meant the most. That album was weird and interesting, and you know, I just, you know, every single song on that I just played over and over and over again. But then it was like, okay, what else is there to say? Now you got number 4 came out. I was like, there's a couple songs in here. Their album after that, couple songs in there, but it's like, that's kind of over, man. You said what you had to say. You peaked. You had like this perfect album come out. Like, dude, that's it. You know.
And we can even throw in Slipknot too. After Iowa, that, you know, they had several great albums, but they, you know, everybody keeps saying we need another Iowa album, and I'm like, do we really need another Iowa album? Because I mean, let's face it, man. There's never going to be another Master of Puppets recorded. There's never going to be another Iowa recorded. It may come slightly close, but it's never going to be those masterpieces.
Yeah, but I know I'm okay with that. Like I'm like, we probably got. I think our masterpiece is coming. You know, this, like, we have 2 good albums. This second one, I'm super proud of it. I love every song on it, but I feel like our masterpiece is about to be born. And then we're gonna just shit the bed next. I mean, it's gonna be bad. You know, we're all going to be 50, and it's just going to hit that, man, we just don't have it anymore. It's coming. So,
all right, Brad.
I'll be there. I'll accept it. I'll be ready. So,
all you need is that one album. That's all Bradley needs, folks. He just wants that one satisfactory album to say, here we go. Here's our masterpiece.
Got to write it. Yeah. It's coming.
If you could be a member in an iconic band and play one of their legendary shows, which band would it be and what show would it be possibly?
I'm a drummer too, and I actually like playing drums more than anything. But for this band, since I'm writing a lot of the songs, like I have to be the front person for this. But I love playing drums. I'd love to find a band to play drums for. I'm a huge Autolux fan. I would love it if they just needed somebody, like even for a tour would be sweet. I'm a super huge fan of Autolux. I like Failure a lot. I'd love to go on tour with Failure. Yeah, that'd be my top choice, I think.
All right, folks, you want to pick up this second full-length album from the Corrupted Hearts when it releases, hopefully by the end of 2023, which will be entitled Long Winter Blues. And they have released their current single, We Dug a Ditch and Laid Down. That's out now. And all digital album sales, 100%, goes to the Plastic Pollution Coalition.org. So, Bradley, my friend, how can folks stay in touch with the Corrupted Hearts? Find anything about you guys, anything and everything.
So we've been going on TikTok a lot and doing the live streams. We're getting into YouTube live streams as well. We're on Facebook and Instagram. We're on pretty much everything. And then we have the corruptedhearts.com. Not hard to find at all. So we're all over the place. Spotify, Apple, everything.
Everybody stick around. We got some great stuff coming up. You only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour. Please get out and check out our Facebook page. It has our podcast link and our YouTube link that you definitely want to go to subscribe to if you like what I'm doing, and I hope you guys and gals do. Please check out the Corrupted Hearts. Their new album, second full-length album, will be coming out in 2023, hopefully by the end of the year, entitled The Long Winter Blues. Also pick up their single, We Dug a Ditch and Laid Down. That's also out right now. So please check out the Corrupted Hearts. And Bradley, man, I wish you guys nothing but the best of luck from here on out.
I really appreciate you having me on. Yeah, it's very nice.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.